Nah, sesi terakhir di track 2 kali ini akan ada pembahasan mengenai upgrade your SIEM deployment dan sesi ini akan langsung disampaikan oleh PT Visionet Data International.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining my session today. My name is Kirby Chong. I am the Chief Information Security Officer with Visionet Data International. The topic today that I'm going to talk about is what your vendor didn't tell you about SOC or SOC, Security Operations Center. You see, a lot of companies misunderstood what a SOC is all about. There is a lot of misunderstanding in this area. The problem is your vendors did not explain well to you what is a SOC, right? Everyone wants to have a SOC. It looks like a very cool word and looks very, very special in a lot of organizations. But a lot of times they think that it's just like buying security solutions like a SIEM, like a threat hunting solution, like, it automates security processes and stops the cyber attacks just by the click of fingers, just like that. In actual fact, it is not really the case. You see, let's start with a recommended security strategy. Now, first of all, where we usually start are prevention. Why prevention? This is where you have your firewalls, your IDSs, your IPS, your antivirus, right? These are what you use for prevention. You harden, isolate your system. You divert the attackers. You prevent certain incidents or certain attacks from happening. Now, when it comes into detection, you can't protect what you cannot detect. Very simple, right? You cannot see or you cannot protect what you can't see. See, to detect certain things or detect an incident, right, you have to be able to see what's going wrong or what's going on, right? Confirm and prioritize what risk are you able to take right now. Which one is more having a higher priority, right? You also have to contain the incidents. Now, after all this detection has done, now it is where you can see your team able to respond to the attacks, right? You have to remediate the attacks. Certain changes needs to be made to your system. Patch your system, update certain configurations in your servers, in your applications, redesign perhaps your network. And last but not least, you have to have something like forensic investigation, right? Now, after you have done all the response part, this is where it takes one more step beyond that, prediction. What do you mean by prediction? Right. When it comes to prediction, you are able to foresee what could have happened. Let's take banking industry as one of the examples, right? There are new malware attacking POS system. There are new malware attacking ATM systems. There are new malware even attacking the SWIFT applications from the bank. Now, there are some banks, there are some countries in the same industry which might be attacked in an earlier phase, right? In this kind of circumstances, you will be able to foresee those attackers, where are they coming from? What are they targeting, right? Like what I've just explained, basically your ATMs, right? They attack your POS systems and so on and so forth. Now, last but not least, the entire process of these four categories, prevention, detection, responding, and to predict what's coming in, you have to continuous monitoring and analyze the entire situation. Now, let's start with three basic principles when it comes into cybersecurity. We're talking about PPT here. It's people, process, and tools. You see, tools always come in the last portion. Tools does not come first. That is why we come with the right people, do the right thing for you, provided that you have the correct processes, then you decide what tools do you need. Okay, when it comes into people, do you realize running a SOC 24/7, how many people do you need? 3, 6, 9, 12, or even more? Why am I giving you these numbers? Put it this way, 24/7, meaning to say minimum you have 3 shifts a day. Minimum 3 person a day, provided that the person comes on time, he did not late, he didn't take any lift and stuff like that. So technically speaking, 1 shift per person is very, very minimum. Usually we take 2. So 3 shifts a day, meaning to say you're going to have like 6 person. But you can't depend on 6 person because you have to work 7 days for every 6 person. They got to take leave, they got to be sick, right? You got to take holidays and stuff like that, right? So you need more than that, right? Usually minimum we set to like 8 person. Then we're talking about only L1, which is your security analyst on level 1. What about level 2, level 3? What about your subject matter expert? What about your SOC manager? You see the number increase, right? And have you ever considered these analysts, these security analysts, they may not be ready in the market. You're not going to be able to just find them easily out there. You gotta train them. You got to make sure that they know what tools you're operating, what tools you're using. You're going to make sure that they know the processes, correct? Now, when it comes into processes, there are certain processes you got to follow, like compliances that you got to comply to. Over here in Indonesia, we see a lot of compliances like ISO 27000 series, PCI DSS, especially for banking, for payment gateway, right? For payment gateway and stuff like that. So you need all these processes, all this compliance has to be in place. Now, let's talk about something more realistic. Pre-COVID-19. Before COVID-19 happens, it was in the past where all of us are protected under a fortress. Do you remember 9 months back when you're still working in the office with your colleagues, hanging out, meeting with each other? Now, you don't do that anymore. Most of your colleagues are no longer sitting right in front of you. They're working at their home, they're working anywhere or everywhere. So during COVID-19 or pre-COVID-19, right? When we're living in a fortress, you need to have like a SIEM solution, you need to have like an antivirus solutions, IDSs, IPSs, and so on and so forth, right? Now, what happened right now in the present? Either you're working on premise, some of us still go to the office, obviously, but a lot of us not coming to the office. So we might be accessing some of the office resources from the cloud level, right? Or maybe even hybrid, some of them on cloud, some of them, on premise. So what you need right now, comparing to what you had last time, pre-COVID-19, is very, very different. Right now, you may need to have an NGFW, next-gen firewall, right? Which has built-in certain features like IDSs, IPSs, and so on and so forth. You may need to have a WAF, a web application firewall, right? Because a lot of resources that you need to access are web-based, right? All you need is to have a browser, that's it. Now, when it comes into traditional antivirus, do you still need to have antivirus? And what are the drawbacks of antivirus? Put it this way, can you scan from office to the users that sits at home? Possibly not. A lot of your antivirus just can't do that, right? You may need to have an endpoint detection and response solution we call EDR. We are able to respond to most of the attacks, even though the users could be miles away, could be in different countries. We are still able to do responding to the attacks, isolate the users from the endpoint level, right? We've got to move beyond that we have to sit, all of us have to sit in the office and so on and so forth. Now, we always got phishing. You receive emails, attackers sending you email phishings, right? Trying to lure you into clicking or opening up an attachment, clicking to a website that possibly contains some malware and so on and so forth. You always play the defense part, right? But I think we should stop doing that anymore, because there is a solution we call deception or active defense in a way. Why don't we fool the attackers? Why don't we fool the attackers? Very simple. When they log in or when they attack your endpoints, you give them a different set of passwords. You do not let them take your password. Fool the attackers into thinking that they got your password. You can redirect them to what we used to call breadcrumbs or a mousetrap, which is where you catch mouse at home, right? Bring the attackers, bring them to a fake Active Directory, bring them to a fake share folders, bring them to a fake email servers, so on and so forth, right? You don't have to always protect yourself, defending yourself that way. You have to start attacking them. Bring them to the wrong place so that they will not encrypt your data, so that they will not destroy your data, so that your data will not be able to detect that easily by the bad guys once they break into your corporate network. So we've got to start thinking about that. Now, post-COVID-19, I think we are going through the COVID-19 era right now, and we are going to get vaccine very soon, right? Now, post-COVID-19, where is your fortress? You don't work in an office anymore. You work outside. You work anywhere so long as there is internet access, so long as you have your browser. You can even work with your phone right now, with your cell phone. Sometimes you don't even have to bring your laptops to go anywhere. But are you really, really protected? Now, the future is Internet of Everything. Can you just imagine in the future what will happen? We will work anywhere we like. We can travel, we can enjoy our holiday, and we can still work. So is that something that you can foresee that will be coming soon? Now, we need to fill in the gap. First of all, what do you have in your corporate environment? What do you have in your corporate network? Then, what do you need to add in order to protect your corporate environment? What are the things that you need to buy? What are the things that you need to operate? And then, last but not least, what are the risk level that you are facing? This is very, very important. You don't simply just take anything that the salesperson comes to you, I have this product ABC or this solution ABC, please buy. No. Last time when we have our data centers, when we have our servers sitting in our data center, in our office, now you're probably running everything through the cloud. Do you need to store anything in the office anymore? I don't think so. See, basically, we are not defending against the attackers. This is the way we no longer able to use, or we no longer wanted to use. Can we counter back? When we counter back, as I've explained earlier, it is the deception, it is the active defense. It is in a way, if you remember last time, when we want to catch a mouse at home, we don't use to poison the mouse anymore. We use a mouse trap. We catch them, we bring them in, we catch the mouse, and whatever that you catch is what you get. It will not make your house feel bad, poisonous and stuff like that. So that is where you're supposed to consider. Now, it's SIEM, or Security Information and Event Management, consider or equivalent to a security monitoring. You can buy a SIEM tool, but you cannot buy a security monitoring capability. This is from Gartner. What do we have to work with? You got tons of things in our corporate environment. Your firewalls, you got your firewall logs, you got your IDSs, your intrusion detection system, intrusion prevention system. Logs from those devices the volumes are just tremendous. You got your antivirus, right? You're not going to ask all your antivirus endpoints to send logs to you, but you collect logs from the management console of your antivirus. You got your network switches, logs from the network switches. your WAF, your web application firewall, your Windows event logs, especially from your Active Directory, from your DNS, right? Your database logs, your application logs, right? Most data logs are not collected or used because why? To be honest, having a SIEM is not cheap. How much log do you need to store? How much storage do you need to prepare? How long do you need to store these logs? And if you're under attack, let's say for instance, a DDoS attack, your logs will be increasing tremendously. Can you cope with it? Are you ready for that? Okay? A lot of times, data logs are stored, but they are not analyzed because it is too much logs coming in. There are too much logs coming in. Again, there is so little time for us to do all this analysis, right? Analyzing data logs can be used to discovering insider threats. Of course, external, right? So data logs can be used to have early detection or data breach, right? Like information theft, right? Analyzing the logs will provide high visibility towards your infrastructure, your applications able to answer you the 5 Ws and 1 H. What are the 5 Ws and 1 H? Who? Who did that? What happened? Where was it coming from? When does it happen? Perhaps you can also understand why would it be happening to your network? Why would it happen to your environment? And how? How does it happen? So you'll be able to answer these questions with the logs that you have and the logs that you analyze. See, what are the challenges or what are the opportunities do we have when we come into collecting logs, collecting information, analyzing these logs, and so on and so forth? Just now we're talking about where do we get these logs. See, there are too much information available to us. There's always not enough the right information. Not every single contents of the logs are required for security analytics. Not every one of them. You can store all of them, but you will not need all of them, right? A lot of information are unstructured, or we call it's a dirty information, dirty data. You still have to make it structured, make it informational, make it useful for you to analyze. Information without context is nothing. You see, you can see a bunch of IP addresses coming in from a firewall, from your IDSs, from your WAF. What does it mean to you? IP addresses. Every single IP addresses, you got to go and look out from who is, you got to find out where they're coming from, which cities are they coming from. Are these IP addresses previously attacking your peer in your industry? I mean, are they previously attacking you, right? So are they blacklisted beforehand? Are they scanners? Are they spammers? So this information can be collected. This information can be displayed to you as context. Tools, the tools that we're talking about, a SIEM solution, for example, way too expensive, and it can be very, very complex. Data needs to be correlated, and the context has to blend in order to perform or in order to give you the kind of information that you need. Very, very specialized skills are required to operate and gather all this information. Scalable storage, you can't just have 1 terabyte of data storage. You have to have more. How much more? Nobody knows. Are you able to cope with that? Are you able to handle those storage? Are you able to query those information that you have stored? These are very, very critical. Scalable storage, performance, capabilities, and so on and so forth. See, information like this, it makes your IT environments getting very, very complex. Data now are in a cloud. They're in cloud. They're not, nothing's going to be in your devices anymore, because sometimes you store data on your laptop, your cell phones, and one may have more than 1 laptop or more than 1 cell phones. Ask yourself, most Indonesian friends that I know carry 2 phones. Where are these data? They could be everywhere. Strong business use case have to be built for collecting the related data that you need. Proactive management needs to have early alerts, early detection. Tons of reports needs to support business decision and threats for the incident detection. Last but not least, are you building a centralized log management solution or a SIEM? Perhaps, maybe both. A SIEM are used for security informational. Centralized log management could be used for security, could be used for IT operation, and also can be used for application development. Now, this is my favorite topic. This is my favorite subject. I love this very, very much. A lot of organizations come to me and say, Kirby, can we just do pen tests and solve everything? I said, yeah, but I don't think so. And they always come into me and say, you know, OJK asks us we have to do pen tests on every single apps. And then I ask them back, is your company producing one web app? 2, 5, 10, 20? How many web apps are you pen testing a year? All of them or only a small numbers of them? Do you have a corporate network? Do you have Wi-Fi in the office? Do you have other servers like your Active Directory, your emails, and so on and so forth? Are you pen testing those? Because the bad guys can attack them. See, throughout a year, 365 days, we usually perform pen testing, say like twice a year. Let's say we do pen tests on February and August. After the pen test, which it usually takes approximately 2 weeks per application, per pen test, then remediation will take maybe around 2 more weeks or 1 month, right? Now, take a look at the real scenario. You pen test on February, you pen test on August. How much time is the attackers able to attack you? Can they attack you on January before you pen test? Can they attack you on March after you pen tested? Can they attack you on other months that you're not doing pen testing? Can they do that? Yes. So is your pen testing effective? You ask yourself. Is pen testing effective? You're not paying cheap to do pen tests, right? But you only select what applications that you want to do pen tests because that's what the regulators need? No, because your user needs to have a security assessment. Have you ever pen testing your mail server? Have you ever pen testing your Wi-Fi in the office? Have you ever pen test your Active Directory? Have you ever pen test your workstations? Because these are where your users able to have access to the data anywhere they like. Be it in the cloud, in the office, in the servers, users are the ones that they have access to all this data. Have you pen tested their laptop, their PC, their cell phones? Because these are where you are usually whitelisted, you are usually allowing them to access your corporate data, and you are not pen testing them. So is pen test effective? I guess you know the answer. There is one video that I would like to show you guys. This is not an old video. This is a zero attack or zero log-on attack. It is CVE 2020-1472. These vulnerabilities detected or discovered somewhere in August. Okay? Now, I am not going to encourage you to do that. This is a real attack, happened to be in a lab. Okay? Please, this is meant for informational, and I am not going to encourage you to do this to your corporate Active Directory, because what it will do is, once the exploit executed from any workstations in your corporate network environment, attacking straight to your Active Directory, without going through any authentication, all user password will be cleaned up as 0. You don't have to log in with any password anymore. And this attack takes place less than 5 minutes. The video, I have edited the videos. It is actually less than 5 minutes after I edited. So please enjoy the video. But again, use it as your information only.
All right. I've got this set up, and I'm actually going to run Impacket in a virtual environment instead of running it from my folder here. So hopefully everything runs now as according to plan. So let's go ahead and hit enter. Looks like it's doing a little bit more. This is good. This is good. Okay. No error codes. That's good. We got success. DC should now have empty string. Great. Perfect. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is just run this secrets dump, and then we don't even need the hashes, I don't think. We're just going to go ahead and do something like this. We're going to say secrets dump.py just DC, and then we're going to come in here and just give it the domain. Let me clear this out. We're going to go ahead and give it the domain, which was Marvel, and the host name was Hydra-DC. We need to put a $ here because it is a computer, and then we're going to go ahead and give it the IP 192.168.443. Let's try that. Try no password. Aha, and it works. Okay, so we just came through here, and look what we've done. We've dumped out the user credentials, and that's what this is going to have us do. So you could run it either way. So it says what you should get the domain admin. After you have that, you can wmyexec.py to the target with credential from secrets dump. So basically, we could use the hashes that we got for the administrator if we want. We should have the Marvel administrator in here as well, but we completely own the DC. So we have this administrator. We can copy this, and then we can come into, they said wmyexec. We could try that, wmyexec.py. Let's go ahead and, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go ahead and actually make this bigger. And we're going to utilize the domain, username, password, but we don't have a password. We're going to use hashes instead with the lmnt. So we'll go ahead and do wmyexec, and we'll go ahead and say Marvel administrator, and then we're going to go ahead and provide the @target name, and then we're going to give it a password, or we're going to give it hashes. So we're going to say hashes like this, do that, see if it works, and we have a shell. Who am I? We are the administrator, host name.
So, have you enjoyed the video? Now, I think the next question that you have is, how am I supposed to protect? How am I supposed to prevent this from happening? First thing first, you are not necessarily has to buy anything in order to protect your corporate data, your corporate network, and specifically this kind of vulnerabilities. It affects Windows 2008 servers all the way to 2019. Almost all the Windows servers are affected by these particular vulnerabilities. First of all, the simplest, easiest way, patch your servers. This is a very, very well-known, very, very easy to attack exploit. You may have check with your vendor, especially your antivirus, your EDR vendor. Use your endpoint protection to detect. To be honest with you, Microsoft Defender, the one that comes free with the operating system, can detect these particular vulnerabilities. Use log management. Use your centralized log management. Use your SIEM if you will. Vulnerability assessment are able to tell how many servers that you have that are still vulnerable to these particular vulnerabilities. Perform security assessment. Test it. Physically test it. Ask your pen testers, ask your red team, test these particular vulnerabilities. Is it still vulnerable for all your servers? Again, your IDSs, your IPSs, a lot of them, if it's updated with the signatures, are able to detect any of the symptoms or attacks of these particular vulnerabilities. Don't forget, there is some common pitfalls, okay, especially for cloud users. Cloud users, IDPS or IDS IPS may not be applicable in cloud. If you're using Google, using Microsoft Azure, using AWS, they might not give you IDS's features. You might not be seeing that, right? Pen test in cloud requires special permission, not from you, but from your cloud service provider. So be alert on that. Now, what do we do? we can improve early and effective threat detection and response around the clock, which means 24/7 threat monitoring, utilize advanced analytics, threat intel, endpoint forensic data, and so on and so forth. Okay, this is what we can do. Now, let me share with you the business use case. First, we solve your security operation challenges by we help you build enterprise security design and operation. We help you build or we provide security consultancy services. We provide you a technical account manager. We give you trained security analyst, right? Either on-site or off-site. We perform continuous security monitoring for you. We put in detection and response for your team. And last but not least, active defense. We're using different kind of solutions, one of which is deception. Right. The services that we are able to provide, services below, we are proud to announce we're working with Blue Power Tech, utilizing the SIEM solutions from IBM as MSSP, helping companies to operate their SIEM solution. We're also offering log management for companies that need to centralize log for IT, application development, and security operation. We are managing your EDR, your endpoint detection and response. This is especially suitable during COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 era, where everybody is working from home. Next, vulnerability management. We are operating effective vulnerability management for enterprise, focusing not just assessing vulnerabilities, but how do we help to manage the day-to-day vulnerabilities effectively. Firewall security review will help companies review how effective is their firewall once they're installed. Threat hunting and active defense. With log management or SIEM in place, we're able to help companies performing cyber threats hunting. With deception in place, we are now able to fool the attackers into taking our breadcrumbs and falling into our traps. GRC. GRC here means governance, risk assessments, and compliance consultation. We're working with Center for Internet Security, CIS. We are providing consultations based on CIS control, CIS benchmark, CSET, which is a tool for tracking implementation of CIS controls, and RAM, risk assessment tool to assess security posture against CIS controls. Come with security assessment. We always suggest our clients to perform regular security assessment, not those kind of once a year pen tests, but regular assessment. Last but not least, of course, cybersecurity training. Now, we are working with a well-known cybersecurity training center offering anti-phishing solution to enterprises, to your corporation. Okay? Who we are. I'm proud to present. We are VSN CERT. We are the Visionet Computer Emergency Response Team. Okay? Below, there is an email that you can contact us directly. So please do so. Okay, next. We have this IBM storage utility. IBM Utility Storage is pay-per-use model storage. So IBM Utility Storage can help companies that have issues with capital expenses, especially for this pandemic situation. This IBM Utility Storage can also anticipate for uncertainty data growth, and you only pay for the capacity you consume instead of purchasing bulk capacity in advance. Okay, there are three main points of the IBM utility model. First, the one is based on subscription. Base subscription is an initial cost that need to be paid for the committed capacity. Usually, a base subscription contains 65% of the total capacity, but on special term and condition, it can be reduced into lesser than 50%. The customer can commit the utility model storage for 3 until 5 years with a contract with IBM. So you can consider that with only 65% cost, you can get 100% performance. A great deal, right? Second, variable utilized capacity. Variable utilized capacity is counted from over limit capacity per month, referring to base subscription, and will be billed by the end of every quarter. The third one would be a cloud-based monitoring. IBM Storage Insight is a software that equipped with AI technology that it can monitor, analyze, and provide you reporting. With this, IBM Storage Insights, both of IBM and users, can find out the usage every single month. Right, if you finish the contract for 3 to 5 years, at the end of the contract, the storage machine itself will be owned by the customer. If the usage over the total capacity before the contract finished, IBM will recalculate the cost, renew the contract if you do so, and also exchange the storage machine for you. Now, so if you're interested and you have any further information for this solution, contact BPT. They have booth here, and you can go there and ask for all the details. Again, thank you so much for joining my session. Appreciate your attendance. Thank you.